Streaming live around the world, this is Paper Cuts with Brad and Jay.
We'll just get this out of the way here. Thanks for joining us on Brad's show.
Yeah, thanks for coming to my show. I did not say shenanigans. Okay.
Are you drinking already?
No, I've just got water. Always looking smooth, aren't you?
Yeah, I do it. I try to clean up for the show. Look, one of us has to. Come on.
Let's get ready to chat with Holly Rae Garcia. We are live.
Oh, shoot, that's my cue. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another exciting episode of Paper Cuts, a spooky episode. Let's make this really cheesy, by the way. I just realized, I went most of the day without realizing it's Friday the 13th. But now that I recall walking my dog this morning, I mean, the moon was really heavy.
Oh,
I walked my dog at 4:30 in the morning, by the way. And yeah, the moon was like wild, like crazy.
Good question. Why, Jay?
I think
because I'm up and no one else is up, and he's up and he sees me put my shoes on and he thinks it's time to go for a walk at 4:30 in the morning. So we do it. The weather's nice right now, so we do it. We do it.
Oh.
We do it. That's enough about me. What's up, everyone? My name's Jay. Over there is every bird's dream, Brad.
Bird's dream. Don't
you have a little story about being shit on by a bird this week?
Yeah, a bird crapped on my shoulder earlier in the week.
What?
Nice.
Today, a bird crapped on my mom too. We went to
What's
the zoo.
with your family, man?
I don't know.
Nuts.
Funny.
All right, tonight with us we have. Are you in Texas? Right.
I am in Texas.
From a secret bunker in Texas. I don't know what it is. I think we've done several shows this season with people in Texas. We need to go back and check it out. But she's the author of Come Join the Murder, the EASTON Falls Massacre, Bigfoot's Revenge. And her newest one hits us in the face May 20th. Correct?
Yes.
It's Parachute. We get to hang out tonight with Holly Rae Garcia. Hello. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here with us.
What's going on,
I know we won't keep you too long because I know Texas is apparently where the party life is. So,
oh yeah,
it is Friday night there, right?
So since it's Friday the 13th, are you a fan of those movies at all?
Yes, not as much as my husband. He's like a super fan, but yeah, I like them.
Just you like them? Which one's your favorite, Jay?
He's more the slasher fan. I'm more like the creature fan, like King Kong and stuff.
Okay.
Of the Friday the 13th, or just all of them?
Friday the 13th.
God, I mean, if you're going with cheese factor, the one when he's in Manhattan, right? That was pretty funny. And then the Jason X in space. That was.
That one is my favorite of the series. Yeah.
Oh, that one's so bad.
That's why. I mean, if you go with the cheese factor, I mean, my favorite part of that is the simulation or whatever they did going back to the 70s at the camp, and hey, you want to smoke some weed, have some sex with the women, and they just put them in the body bag, the sleeping bags, or sitting in a tree. Yeah, that was.
The one where they froze the person and smashes their face against the wall, that was a pretty good kill.
Yeah.
I think the
We've
third
already
one's
got
my
off
favorite.
the subject already. How did we get on?
It's Friday the 13th. It's on subject.
It is the subject.
Yeah.
I like the third one where he finally gets his hockey mask. I think that's funny. He's so iconic for the hockey mask. We didn't get it till the third movie.
Is it the third one he gets it? That's correct, right?
That
Because
is.
he's not in the first one. And
He has a bag over his face.
He's got the bag over his head for the second one.
Yeah. I just remember the Manhattan one was just so cheesy with the gang outside with the boombox and that whole. Yeah.
So you went to Fright Fest recently, right?
I did. It was so much fun. It was so crowded though, but met some really cool people.
Was Kane Hodder there?
No, he was not there. Tom Savini was there.
Yeah, I saw your picture with him.
Yeah, and Robert Englund, of course.
Oh, really?
We got a picture with him and Heather Langenkamp, who is Nancy.
I have his book. His book's really cool.
Whose book? Is it Tom Savini's?
Tom Savini's. Yeah, it's all about his making the mask and the prosthetics and everything for a bunch of his movies.
They're a publisher, Dark Ink, who published Come Join the Murder. Also, Kane Hodder and Tom Savini's books. And Ryan, okay, we're at Tom Savini's, like, he's signing a thing for us, right? And Ryan is like my biggest fan, and he's like, hey, y'all, she shares a publisher with you. And I don't think he cared. But it was nice. He didn't get as excited as we hoped he would. So
I'm glad you mentioned that with Dark Ink, because I know they do a lot of Kane Hodder stuff. Like they
do.
have this and I was going to bring it up later, but I have the Generation X.
I love that one
because you do have a story of that. But I mean, I was going to bring it up after a parachute talk.
They're actually Friday 13th sale at Dark Ink, so go check out their sale.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So your newest, well, not released yet, so I guess your latest parachute. What's the reaction been so far for those that you've sent the advanced copies out to? All positive feedback, I'm assuming. I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's been really positive. I'm trying to think. I think the like lowest star was like a 3.5, but she rounded it up to 4. So it's been. I think we've gotten like 23 on Goodreads, and then a few like articles here and there. It's done well so far. I'm pretty.
Who's the 3.5? We're gonna find her. That's just...
No. She had 3's still good. 3.
It's a joke. It's just a running because you always have to round up with Goodreads and Amazon and all that stuff.
Well,
so.
And Goodreads system 3 means you liked it. So,
yeah, exactly.
I'm not mad about that. The only time like probably reviews like make me just question things is like Come Join the Murder. The blurb like on the back, it's like the very first line is her 4-year-old son like dies, and was like, I don't like the child death, so I give it 2 stars. You knew a child died. But.
Well, I mean, okay, to their defense, I try not to read that on the back.
Oh,
too. I like to go into it totally blind. Sometimes. I mean, if I want something totally crazy. So yeah, maybe that's what they did. I don't know. But how much fun did you have writing this? I mean, were you literally reminiscing about the 90s and the old days?
Yeah.
Teen angst.
So I wrote it during NaNoWriMo in November.
Okay.
I had sort of like, I knew like chapter heading, like I knew what was going to happen each time they lifted the parachute. But other than that, that's all I had written. Just like a 1-line thing. But yeah, so it's weird. It's kind of based on my friend group, and I graduated in 97, and it's the Polk Elementary is my elementary school. That's mentioned in there. There's a lot and we really did night fish at the beach, and so a lot of it, the Silver Bullet really was my first car. So it was almost autobiographical, except clearly we didn't get consumed by a parachute. But it was nice. I made like a playlist for my website page on it, and I'm just going through memories with that. It's nice. It was a lot of fun. I had to change names of all the friends, of course, because I don't want them to recognize themselves and get mad.
Nice. Were you one of those kids when you were a teenager? Did you hang out at school after hours?
I saw that in your review. So
I never did that. I never got that because most people didn't want to be in school to begin with, right? Why would you go hang out afterwards?
We hung out on top of, and it was not abandoned. It was a current elementary school that was close to one of the guys' houses, and it was easy to get onto the roof. And so they would smoke weed on the roof of this elementary school. And I don't know why that was just so peaceful. Like I don't, when you're that
the weed. Yeah, I know people who hey, let's go hang out at school on Saturday. What? No. Hey, what are you doing Saturday? I thought we'd go over to hang out at the Jungle Gym or the Dome or what? Why?
You want to hear a funny story? So
of course.
I was a goody in school. And when I say they smoked weed, like I tried it one time and I hated it, so I never did again. But I got Saturday D Hall on purpose so I could see what it was like before I graduated. And I just read my book the whole time, so it wasn't terrible. It was kind of nice.
Yeah.
You got to sit down and read your book in peace.
Exactly.
You should have got D Hall more often then, right?
I know. My dog's wanting me to throw her toy. Leave me alone. No.
Do it. Go
Right.
for it.
So did you?
Knock over your phone, your computer, all that stuff.
Can't start it because then she won't let you stop.
Yeah, Justin's got a question. What did you do to get your Saturday D Hall?
God, I don't remember. I was probably like tardy a bunch of times. I don't remember, honestly. It was so,
Nothing really that bad.
No, like I didn't cuss out a teacher or anything.
I don't think I ever got Saturday school, but I had to go on Saturdays. I remember in middle school to work on a computer project. So I was in there with the Saturday school people. So I'd be walking in at 8 o'clock in the morning and people probably think, oh, he's got Saturday school with everyone else. No, I'm just working on a project here. I'm a nerd, you know?
I think I had it one time. I don't remember what it was for, but I never really got in trouble in school very much either.
That's funny.
Goody tissue. But no, as far as like parachute goes, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of blurbs. You actually have a couple blurbs on your website, but one that I really like is from Rebecca Rowland, A Fresh Tale of Nostalgia That Goes Horribly Wrong in the Most Delicious Ways. And that really sums up parachute. First of all, I'm a big fan of Rebecca Rowland. That's a side story there. But yeah, I think that blurb just, you know, that's the book in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot of nostalgia in there. I still am a little angry at the fact that the nasty teenager wiped his greasy hands on a Pearl Jam shirt.
Did you wear that shirt today on purpose, Jay?
It was kind of a coincidence. I actually had a different one on, and then I was working on the pool and put this one on. So I had to cut grass and change my shirt and all that stuff. So. But yeah, that still irritates me a little bit. I thought about taking a star off for that, just FYI. But you know, I'll live with it.
So did you,
Brad? You've read it, right?
I have read it. Yeah, I read it the other. I read it like if I wouldn't have started it at like midnight and fallen asleep, I would have read it in one sitting.
It made you fall asleep?
No, it was like midnight.
Yeah, he kind of said that wrong, didn't he?
Now I blew through it. I looked up. It was like I'm 30% done. I just started like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So did you play with the parachute in elementary school like that?
Yes, I loved that game. It was so much fun. Although I was just trying to think of other things we did in elementary school. The stick things that they like did this click, 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 click with them, and you like jumped in between them.
Yes,
those I do not remember those.
But we didn't have the real ones. We just actually had to go outside and get some sticks. I went to Columbus Public Schools, and there was like no funding, so yeah.
We also did square dancing. I don't know if that's a Texas thing or if everybody did that.
That's gotta be a Texas thing.
We did we did like the Macarena and stuff all the time, and the electric slide and things like that in gym class.
RJ,
what's that?
He's younger.
Yeah, I was gonna say what?
Yeah.
I remember our parachute though was not one of the colorful parachutes. It was probably like a one sewn together by t-shirts or something. It was like a dingy brown and a dingy orange color, and yellow, and it wasn't like the colorful like blues and reds and stuff. So like in your story, you're talking about the colors of the lights coming through and everything. And I'm just thinking mine was just, highlighting the fluorescent lights were highlighting the dirt on the floor on the 9x9 asbestos tiles that I'm sure we're going to die from eventually. And it was
you didn't have wood floors in your gym?
No, they were the, the, what are they, 7x7 or 9x9 tiles that, it came out many years later. They were full of asbestos, and
see, ours was a wood gym, and they had the basketball goals. They would retract them up when they had like an assembly and stuff.
You had like the bleachers that you'd pull out.
Yeah, the bleachers pulled out, and we had to run laps all the time. And there was the rope to climb, and we did the parachute every now and then. We'd play dodgeball a lot, which I feel like they don't play dodgeball now. It's too violent.
They probably use foam balls or something. I don't know.
Probably. But my my son's school, and now my daughter goes there. They still do the parachute there, which I don't know of anybody else that still does that. They go to like a Montessori school, and they still do the parachute for recess
Really?
sometimes.
That's cool. Yeah, the with the square dance, we actually had to like have an after school like show for our parents where we had to dress up in these frilly, lacy dresses. It was awful.
Wow.
I have pictures.
That's got to be a Texas thing. I don't know.
No, we didn't do square dancing.
Was your gymnasium separate from your cafeteria and your auditorium? Because we had a cafetorium is what we had.
In elementary school, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I have memory, like terrible. So
ours was separate, but it had like the accordion door that would fold out, or the accordion wall. You fold it up, and the two rooms would connect.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny.
So where did the ideas for the terrible places they go in parachute come from? Like, what was taking this nostalgic fun kids game of parachute and turning it to this horrible thing that you turned it into? Like, what was the why the parachute to do that instead of some
why
other...
are we scarred from this now?
Yeah, why instead of square dancing, why parachute instead?
I want to say I was in the car, like Ryan and I were driving somewhere, and we were just talking about it. And you know how like writers, like ideas aren't our problem, right? Like picking the one and seeing it through to the finish is the problem. And so I think I'd already started and stopped like several stories and books. And I'm like, oh, here's a brand new idea. Let me just abandon everything and go do sounds fun. And it was just one of the, I've never really written a lot of fantasy. And it was like what if, you know? And I had a lot of fun just making shit up. Like fantasy's fun.
Yeah.
Would you consider this fantasy though, more than horror, or dark fantasy is what I'm kind of
probably horror. Yeah. I hoped I made like some of it gruesome enough to be horror and not just but hopefully there's that element.
Yeah, because it's not like fantasy that I'm thinking of where it's a 1,200 pages and nothing happens. No, it's not that stuff.
It's Jay's favorite genre.
I hate fantasy.
Jay loves the elves.
I can do dark fantasy. That's why I really like this one, because I can do dark fantasy. But I think as long as the horror aspects are strong,
Well, I was always a fan of like humans are the worst monsters, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
Initially, starting my like writing career, I thought I would just stick with that because they are the worst. But it's fun branching out and just trying different things and seeing how that works out.
Was this, since it is not, the human monsters like you did in Come Join the Murder, was it easier to write, different to write, harder to write than that, or?
I think it was easier to write. Come Join the Murder was hard because it was my first book, right? And I was sort of learning as I went, which I don't recommend doing. And I would watch videos on grieving mothers and like hours of these interviews with these moms who like lost it because I wanted in this headspace, right? And
ouch.
I know what was wrong with me. So
I haven't read that one yet. Just FYI. So I don't know if you're really selling it to me right now.
It's good.
It's sad and dark and well, who was it? Well Red Beer. Kevin was like, it's the making of a monster, like someone turning into this kind of monster, and that sums it up pretty well. But this one was, I would say, it was easier because you're not dealing with the human psyche. You're just making shit up. It's you don't have to accurately, represent the like stages of depression and like the loss and the. So I didn't have to look anything up and cry. So that made it easy.
That's a plus when you don't have to cry while you're writing your book.
Oh my God, my mom is in the chat. And Mary, so Linda Mickle is my mom, and Mary Park is a friend of mine. That's funny. Hi, Mom.
So are you planning to kill your stepdad off in a book sometime?
Oh my God. So his brother's name is Adrian, and apparently I killed him in a story or book. Mom might remember. And his name is Mark, and he's like, I'm offended. You haven't killed me yet. Well,
That That's a high honor, by the way.
Jay's been killed off in a book. I haven't been killed off
actually
in a book
twice.
yet.
Well, I've got to the part in the other one I'm reading where I got killed off, but yeah, I get killed off in Laurel Hightower's new book.
So is that because you think people don't like you? They're trying to just kill you, through fiction, or is it a prestigious thing, Jay?
Hey, I'm
plead
taking
the
it as
fifth
an
on
honor.
Hunter Shea's one that just came out today. He mentioned like a bunch of people he killed off. Real people. Yeah. Writer friends killing each other.
I know at StokerCon, Gemma Moore wrote the script for the No Sleep podcast. They killed Sadie Hartman off in that.
Did they really?
Yeah. I think they might have killed Cena Paleo too.
Oh,
I know they killed
wow.
Sadie. She's like, I'm sorry for killing you on this, Sadie.
That's funny. But
so they went heavy right away. So
yeah.
Hilarious.
And Mary says Quinn Join the Murder was awesome. It was awesome. It was, I can't remember when I read it. It was 2020 or 2019.
I think it was 2020, I think, the year it came out.
Yeah. But it was, this sounds bad the way I'm going to say it, but it was like my surprise book of the year because I had no expectations going in because I hadn't read your stuff before.
Yeah.
And it was so much darker and so much more violent. Maybe might not be the right word, but I was like, wow, that's really good. I was not expecting that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And I can't remember if I told you or if I just mentioned it in my review. I was like, I wonder if she got the title of it from Sons of Anarchy because it's that song, like the main theme song for it.
I did. I love Sons of Anarchy. It's such a tragedy. It's such a great show. But I changed I wanted to name it The Drowning of Oliver Hansen, but there was already a book like that had just come out called The Drowning of Oliver something.
Well, that's weird.
I know. So I changed it to that because you can use song titles, right? They're not copywritten. Like lyrics are, but titles aren't. And so I changed their last name to Crow so it would kind of fit. But it worked.
But the title "Come Join the Murder" it fits with the story really well too.
Yeah,
with what goes on in the story. Because
Sorry,
like what you said, what Kevin was saying, it's sort of the making of this monster, coming to join. Because one of the people is I can't remember his name. One of them is a killer, and then the mom sort of maybe falls down that path as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I thought it fit really good, and I like the bird on the cover fits with the lyrics to the title or the lyrics to the song too.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I think Ken's got a question here we can hop into.
What is it?
You think you'll write more dark fantasy again in the future?
Yeah, it was fun. And to me, like dealing with human monsters, there's a ton of things you can do with that. But dark fantasy, there's no end. Like you're not bound by just the screwed up nature of our brains. You can just do anything. It was a lot.
Was there any world that you liked the best that you put in there? Because they go to these different worlds when they go up under the parachute.
Yeah, the last one was my favorite, and I don't want to give spoilers. But
let's not give it away. I mean, I the fact that there were different worlds. I think I mentioned this. I got some early Clive Barker feel to it, and that's just a connection I was making because he tends some of his stuff. I haven't read a lot of the stuff, but like it tends to be different weird worlds, and that's just what I was connecting with. So
I was trying to make them as different as possible. Looking back, you always want to change things. You'll change things to death. I had to just stop at one point, but now I'm like, well, what if I should have done this or should have done that? There's so many possibilities.
You could go on forever with all the different places they go to.
Yeah.
Justin bought it on Brad's review, not mine, but on Brad's.
It reminded me a bit of Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, because in that book the character goes to these different worlds. It's through a completely different device that he gets there, but it was sort of similar to that in a way.
I loved that book a lot. There's a lot of influences in there of different things. Like one of them sort of imitates Neverending Story when the horse dies, that like sadness thing.
Yeah.
So it was just a 90s love fest, really.
Yeah.
It was cool that they didn't just go to these places, but they went to these places, and some of them had like effects on like their mood. Like you said, that one place sort of made them feel sad and depressed, and it wasn't just they're in a new place, but it's like this oppression that was hovering down on them too. It was cool.
I was joking about like writing fantasy, and I'm like, you can just make anything up. Like, what is gravity? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
So I was just having fun with that, I think.
The swamp of sadness.
Yeah.
I think
No,
all
it was
all
taking-
90s kids remember that horse that gets killed. in
Yeah.
that swamp.
But they being taking place in the 90s, everything was, there was just so much depression amongst the teenagers in the 90s, and it was brought on by some of the music and all that stuff. I just really felt all that within the book, and the fact that it's so short and you're able to cram that much stuff into it to just make me reminisce about how cool things used to be back then and how things are so screwed up now. Just
Thank you. And isn't that like we always think the generation like after us is more screwed up than the
yeah.
thought we were screwed up.
I mean, I'm an Xer. I think my wife is whatever's after this. Like, would I be a millennial?
I don't know what any of them are.
I think we're Gen X. Well, I'm Gen X. You're Jay. You're Gen X. I think Brad's millennial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am like barely at the beginning.
I think my wife's at the end of millennials, so she hates the millennials too. So
I hate the millennials too, and I'm apparently one of them.
That's funny. I don't mind it. And that's
I wanted to ask you.
Cat that says that, Ryan.
Well, I was going to ask you. I wanted to ask you about the EASTON Falls Massacre, Bigfoot's Revenge. You wrote that with your husband, correct?
I did.
There's got to be some stories there, fights and arguments about.
No, so the EASTON Falls Massacre. I just started writing. I wrote it down because knew I was going to forget. In 2018,
Okay.
and I was like, I want to try to write something like just out of nowhere, and I was talking to Ryan, and he was like, write me a Bigfoot story. I was like, cool, done. And so I wrote a story called The Hunt, and it was terrible. But then when it came to writing something after Come Join the Murder, I was like, let's turn this one into a book. And so it kind of already had a lot of the basis down from the short story. It's probably like a 5,000 word short story. And so it was a fun process. Like, I don't think we fought about anything. There were probably a few word choices, but there was like an unspoken rule that I got the last say.
As it usually goes between husband and wife.
Because I did the final edit, and he's like, well, I thought you were going to change that. And I was like, yeah, no, I didn't.
Has he written other stuff?
He has. He's got 2 short stories out that were published by Siren's Call.
Okay. So are you guys ever going to do another collaboration?
Yeah, we're working on Bigfoot 2 this year. I've actually already lined up an editor for it, so we definitely have to get it out.
Yeah, I was going to ask us. I noticed that one says book 1, so I figured another one's.
I've got the old cover. I like the old cover.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, do you really? I've got it too.
I like both of them. I don't know. I like the guy's face in the where is he at in the bottom of the hill here.
When we took back rights from Close to the Bone, who are great, but when our rights got reverted, the cover art didn't come with it, so I had to make. And I kept that cover art for the audiobook, even though it was self-published. They let me keep that, so they were
actually. I just started. I'm like on page 5 or 6 or something like that. So no spoilers, Brad. Don't do that.
I haven't read this one yet. This one's fresh.
Oh, wow.
So you just started writing in 2018?
Yeah. So it's still.
So just like on a whim, you just wanted to write something one day?
Yeah. So I've had a book club, and Mary, who was in the chat, and my mom are in it also. A local book club that we meet once a month, and there were several books back to back that were just terrible. But I would always say, but they wrote a book and I didn't. So what do I know?
Right.
So one day I was like, well, why can't I? Let me just so I just wanted to see if I could, and ended up really liking it. It was a lot of fun.
And the Bigfoot story, that was the first thing you started with?
The short story that will never see the light of day. Yeah, that was the very first thing I wrote. So, now my daughter's in the chat. My whole family's showing up. My 22-year-old daughter.
And Lewis had a question about your story in Gen X? Was it
You
based
might
on the Warren G
people
song?
might know Lewis as L. Stevenson, by the way.
Yeah. Absolutely, Lewis. Absolutely. It was one of my like theme songs of my teenage years. I love that song. When I'm in the mood, I like blast it loud and turn it, and I think I'm so cool, and I'm not. But absolutely.
I think in my review of this, I may have said I liked your story the best, or one of the best ones.
Thank you.
I've done so many reviews, but I think I mentioned your name somewhere in my review for this, which I enjoyed this collection pretty good. Rebecca Rowland.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, I'm again big fan, and she keeps me busy with a bunch of these. Like,
yeah,
she just sends them to me, says review this, and she trusts what I do, and I do it. Speaking of, I know we're all over the place, but speaking of Rebecca, she also just sent me recently the Anne Rice tribute, and you have a story in that one.
I do. So
you're making your rounds here. So.
Well, so that one was interesting. So it's called Blood of the Rougarou. So Rougarou is like the Cajun French version of like a werewolf story.
And I'm glad you pronounced it, because I'm sitting trying to figure it out, and I couldn't. So that's why I threw it to you to say the name of the story.
Well, so I had gotten invited to write that. That I was just asked to write a cryptid story for this Persephone-like company. She was a candle like subscription box, and she was doing these new subscription boxes where there were candles, like a story, and all these other things inside it.
That's cool.
And so she asked me to write it, and so I did I handmade like little chapbooks of this story, and so they were in all of the boxes. And then I had just decided to like release it as a short story on Amazon when Rebecca reached out to me, and she had received one of those boxes, and she said, "Hey, we're putting together this Anne Rice tribute thing. I'd really like this story in it." I was like, fantastic. Let me pull it back down off Amazon. So that one's had a weird life, but it's an odd little story.
I've got she just sent it to me like last week, so I haven't got very far in the collection, but yeah, doing some research for the show, unlike Brad does. But I saw that your name, and I was like, all right, cool.
Man, throwing shots, Jay. Hey, I knew that she based the title of this off of Sons of Anarchy and the song, Jay. Come on now.
Yeah, I've never watched it, so I didn't know.
Jay hasn't even read that one, Brad. So.
I know.
He's never even watched the show.
It seems pretty sad to me.
Oh, it's so
what's
good.
that?
You haven't seen Sons of Anarchy?
I'm a very busy person.
Yeah.
No, I know of it. I just never had a chance to sit down and watch it. So.
It's funny. My mom does not watch TV at all, other than like the news, and for some reason, and the Weather Channel, probably for some reason during the wintertime a few years ago, she binged watched all of Sons of Anarchy, which for one blew my mind that she was watching TV at all, but that she picked that show in particular. And she's like, it's my favorite show of all time. I was like, what is going on here? Who are you?
And the soundtrack is amazing.
Like, yeah, the soundtrack is really good. The White Buffalo band or group or whatever they do a lot of the stuff for it.
Yeah.
Is it someplace like we got rid of cable like last year, so we just stream everything.
It used to be on Netflix. I guess it's still on Netflix probably, because that's where she watched it all.
Oh wow, it's been a while since I saw it. Oh, so good. In fact, Charlie Hunnam, who's the main character in Sons of Anarchy, he's amazing. Also in, I think, The Gentleman, was he in that one? But that's who we like envisioned as being our main character in EASTON Falls Massacre.
Okay.
Big fans.
So since I'm not very far in that book, I'm going to have him
Charlie Hunnam's faces
in my head.
His face is the
reading
character.
It now. Yeah.
Did you watch the prequel show, The Mayans, at all?
No, because I don't want to ruin the awesomeness,
the experience of it.
Yeah.
Justin says it's on Hulu now, Jay. So you gotta watch it. It is a good show. It's good. It's not my favorite show like my mom's, but
I'll add it to the never-ending list.
You gotta watch Breaking Bad first, and then you can watch Sons of Anarchy.
Hey, Ozark took me a while. I did watch Ozark, but yeah, I'm way behind on everything else.
I just finished Ozark.
Did you?
Yeah.
Are you upset about it? Are you? I'm upset.
Not really. I mean, I am okay. There's There may be spoilers though. So Jay,
No, don't
I know,
spoil.
I know, I
Don't
know.
spoil.
we'll take that line, Jay, and I'll message you.
Yeah. I mean, I expected it, but I thought it'd be better. I thought it would happen if we're thinking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Because
He's
that
talking.
character,
That's one I need to watch. Everybody says if you like Breaking Bad, you need to watch it.
that
Breaking Bad's my
character
favorite TV show.
was my
so I need to
favorite
watch it.
character.
Yes.
And okay, it was just kind of
Like,
They piss in your Cheerios, Jay.
and Brad, you said about Breaking Bad or whatever. Like, I started Ozark probably 3 different times, and it took me a few episodes to really get into it.
Mhm.
But once you're in, you're in.
what I know. I watched the first 3 seasons, and I kept on telling my wife, "You got to watch this." I said, "I'll go back and rewatch them with you." She got through the first season. She watched maybe 2 episodes second season, and it was too dark for her. She didn't like how she felt, so she never did finish it. So I just went ahead and watched season 4 by myself.
See, those are the shows I like, though. I like the dark
Yeah.
shows.
But sometimes they can really fuck with your head if you binge too much of them. So you have to like, step back for a minute. And like if I'm writing something really dark, I can't watch that stuff. I need to watch happy
Yeah,
to balance it out.
yeah,
That was
What
like
do you do
Ross
when you're
said
writing?
that something.
yeah. I was gonna say, what do you do when you're writing stuff so dark? You have to walk away from it every now and then, and
Yeah,
clear your head.
your head's in a weird space. Just trying to put yourself into the characters' like emotions and stuff.
Especially probably for this one. Come Join
Actually,
the Murder was probably really hard.
Come Join the Murder was still the hardest between the 3 so far, and all the stories.
You
That
guys
one,
are not selling it to me. If you keep,
It's good, Jay. It's good. I
and,
mean, you already know from the blurb on the back. The kid
Right.
dies at the
And
beginning.
you
so
know what?
You know.
I put off Laurel Hightower's Crossroads for like a year
me too.
because I kind of knew the situation. And being a parent, I think
Mhm.
yeah. And then but Brack said you gotta
It's good. You got to read it.
and now it's one of my all-time favorite books.
I need to read Laurel's. I've heard like it feels like there may be some parallels. And I still need to read it. It's on my list or whatever. But yeah.
Oh, you ever read Crossroads?
No, not yet. I want to.
Oh.
I think I've got it on Google.
Crossroads is the adult child dies, but this one is like he's young. He's like what 5,
He's
6, something like that.
He's 4, and it's funny because I think
It's 4 and he's funny. He dies. He's 4 and it's hilarious.
That's even worse. Come on.
So in the acknowledgments, I mentioned this. So my son almost drowned a couple times when he was about that age and younger. I was not watching him either time. Let me just say that. Someone else. But it gave me the idea of like, okay, what's the worst thing that I can imagine? And so in the acknowledgments, I was like, thank you for almost drowning. You gave me a great idea.
Like, isn't that sort of therapeutic in a way to write that into a story a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, not that something bad happened to him, but
sounds much better. Yeah, let's go with that.
Sorry about your luck, but hey, it brought me good luck. Ouch.
We taught them to swim pretty early though. But he was like 2 the first time. He was fishing with his grandpa in a bayou, and the bayous are muddy. I don't know if you're familiar with bayous, and he had fallen in the water, and the grandpa like just reached down, and I'm doing these motions with my hands, you can't see. Reached down and could just like feel his hair and like pulled him up like that because he couldn't see him. I was like,
that's crazy. Yeah, because it's all dirty water and stuff. Can't see it.
Yeah.
That is scary.
Down in the bayou. Okay.
Yeah.
So not only getting into like the parents' mindset, but was it, since you are a parent, was it scary for you to write this since it's about a child death and you did sort of had those close experiences with it a little bit?
Yeah, I was actually had a good reign on it until I wrote his point of view. And then that was harder. I made myself cry a few times. It's just so dumb thinking about like.
No, that's good though. That means you care about what the characters are going through and stuff.
But then like I haven't really since. So either I've gotten colder.
You're desensitized now.
Your own work desensitized you.
That's good that I started with that then.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So you've done a novel. You've done EASTON Falls is kind of a novella. So is Parachute. You've done short stories. What do you prefer, writing, or does it really matter?
Novellas is a sweet spot, I think,
Mhm.
especially for horror.
Yeah. It's the I'll say it, Brad. It's the 90-minute horror movie.
Yeah.
You're in, you're out.
Yeah.
So.
I don't like, sometimes you want to settle into like a good thick book and like spend that time with those characters and in that world. And I get in those moods. I'll grab a King book, you know, it says door stoppers. And that's nice too. It's a different experience. But as far as writing them, like I read all of it. But as far as writing for novellas.
Do you think you could write a big door stopper one day? Big 800-page book or so?
I'm sure I could. Well, you know what? No, I don't think I could, because I think I get tired. Like I would get tired of it really early on. Like I would want to like move on to something else. I don't like spending too much time in the same space. What is honking?
So you think you'll get bored with your own book, writing your own book?
Kind of, yeah. And I have a really bad memory, and I would forget what had happened.
Like, when did this character get wings? I don't remember writing that.
It'd be the next chapter is about the dead character.
Yeah.
Someone you killed like 400 pages ago, they're back. Like, what's going on?
Yes. Well, and that happened in Parachute, that some of the early they're like, I thought this person died. Why is his name here? I'm like, crap. You're right.
And that's just the novella.
That's just the novella. But you know what? You edit them so much. And then sometimes you go back and just edit like this paragraph and forget to like change everything else that affects.
Mm-hmm. So do you write like the whole draft and then go back and do edit yourself, or do you sort of edit along the way while you're writing it, or?
It depends on my mood, really. I probably most of the time go back and edit and then keep writing forward. And then if I'm just like in a weird headspace and I can't be creative, I'll just edit what I've already written. But that way, like, it's never the same experience. The writing stuff is different every day. So
who reads your stuff first?
Ryan. And then my kids.
So does Ryan, does he get picky with some of the editing too? Say, hey, you messed up here. You should. I'm just imagining, okay, just because you guys wrote a book together and both are writers. Like, I want to hear some. I really don't want to hear arguments.
He's trying to pull the drama out. So
I know.
You did that
I'm trying
Sadie
to,
and Ashley too.
I did, didn't I? Yeah. I'm trying to turn this into the Jerry Springer interview show, book writing and stuff.
Like with the Bigfoot short story, looking back now, it was awful, but he said exactly what he needed to say and is so supportive, and like it was great, and it gave me the confidence to keep going and to try new stuff. If he had told me the truth, which he may still love it, I don't know, but if he had said like
he wants more gore.
he does. He
like cowbell.
Sure. If he had probably been honest and been like, this is, I don't know if I would have kept writing. And so he's always been like the biggest supporter. And so you need people in your life that will be honest with you and tell you the hard stuff too, but you also need those supporters who will keep pushing you forward.
Yeah. Right. I mean, you're not going to get anywhere if everyone's just like, oh yes, it's great. It's fine. Yeah. Don't change the thing. Don't fix it. Don't ever do anything. So.
And he does give good critiques, especially when we were doing the EASTON Falls together. Like he said, more gore, always more.
His little red pin notes on the side, more gore here, more gore.
I would like write something and I'm like, Ryan, insert like gore fight scene here.
Yeah, like you all were saying, you don't want a bunch of yes people in your corner, because then you're never going to know if you're actually good or not.
Exactly.
Everybody just tells you, yes, it's great. And then you throw it out to the world and then you get devoured. You're like, well, everybody, my friends all said it was great.
Yeah. And
then they all lied to me about it.
Yeah.
What about the ideals? I mean, he reads your stuff first, but do you ever bounce things off each other and just like, no, that's not going to work. Stop. Start over.
I always say he's my idea guy.
Okay.
I will say though, Parachute, I didn't go to him as much. I wanted to see what I could do by myself. It sounds bad. But I still went to him with things. But Come Join the Murder, almost every chapter, I was asking him questions and like, what if this happened or that happened? I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah,
So
he's
was
my guy.
was Come Join the Murder the first thing you did after that short story? Or did you
Yes,
do something? Wow.
terrible again. Like, oh, I've never written. Let's just write a book. But I'm in a writers group on Facebook. It's called Right Around the Block, and
Mm-hmm.
we a lot of us in there were doing these NYC midnight flash fiction contests. They were like once or twice a year, and it was like 500 word stories. And I did a lot of those and a lot of furious fiction, which is put out by the Australian Writers Center. They used to do monthly 500 word stories, and that's a great like length to figure out what you like writing and to figure out maybe your voice. And so that was instrumental, definitely. But I had already started Come Join the Murder.
Just real quick for the millennials and Gen Zs, Facebook is what was around before Twitter and TikTok.
But
Before
after
TikTok and all.
MySpace. After MySpace, though.
MySpace.
Oh, I had a MySpace page.
Man, if you weren't in someone's top 5, you were a loser.
I know. You worked. It was like you worked to get that top 5.
You did.
Like you worked to get under speed dial. Remember speed dial on the
What's that, Jay? Speed on the rotary phone?
on the phone, yeah. Before kids, before cell phones, we had these blocks of plastic that were little phones.
Dude, that's funny.
Party line, you crossed
the
the party
big
line.
block that you took in your car and plugged it to the cigarette lighter.
Yeah, I had one of those. Brad, I want to play a game.
You can play a game? Okay. Are you gonna play along?
So are we going against each other or
Let her guess first, and if she can't get it right,
let's do that.
I got
okay.
this.
Are you
Yes.
ready, Jay, for the just fantastic video that I made for it?
Yeah, I haven't seen this yet, so this is
Jay just like gets so embarrassed every time I play one of these.
I'm gonna warn y'all, I'm really competitive.
Uh-oh. Jay loses all the time anyway. He sucks at these games. He won once because he had to cheat against Leah Lindemann because he had all the answers already.
Come on, no.
Yeah.
Was it Kev? Was it Kev or was it Ross that my wife was actually texting me the answers and
I think it was Kev because that was the second time.
Yeah.
Don't cheat.
All right, so we're gonna play some 90s trivia. Make sure I play the right video. 90s trivia.
What the hell's that? what was that?
That's like an All That kind of thing. You remember All That? Nickelodeon?
Yeah.
It's in the 90s.
He's young.
I was old for that.
Yeah.
Like I know of it, but what was that?
It was 90s trivia. You
Okay,
play it again?
That was a little bit Saved by the Bell colors. So
Yeah, that's 90s
okay.
stuff. All right.
So she's going to answer first, right? And if she doesn't know it,
we'll give her the opportunity to answer first, and if she doesn't get it, we'll let Jay go.
Mary says no help from me.
All right. What 1990s teen movie was retitled after a Britney Spears song?
What? I don't know Britney Spears.
I think we listened to good stuff. I don't know.
She did a movie called Crossroads. That's all I know about Britney Spears. Oh.
Jay, you want to have a guess?
Wait, say the question again.
It's what 90s teen movie was retitled after a Britney Spears song? So they took the title of the Britney Spears song and made it the movie title.
So I would need to know a Britney Spears title song.
Yeah, so you don't know any Britney Spears?
So I know the Oops, I Did It Again.
That's the only one I know.
It was before that one, I think.
She had one before that one?
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of stuck in my head now. I can hear it.
Like the first time I see it, she was like in a school. The video, she was like in a school. Isn't that Oops, I Did It Again?
No.
No?
I thought that was like the red latex video she had on.
Is it the Hit Me Baby thing or?
It's driving me crazy.
I don't know.
Jay's face.
What?
Louis Stevenson says, hint, Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Why she was in it or?
I have no idea. All right, we'll do it. We'll move on.
Well, no, what's the answer?
It's a Drive Me Crazy.
The movie is called Drive Me Crazy.
Yeah.
That was a Britney Spears song?
Apparently.
Okay.
It's in my head now. I can hear it.
That was the answer. Okay.
I don't want to sing it because
play it so we get demonetized.
We get demonetized and struck down. All right. So next up, what infamous haircut was inspired by a must-see TV sitcom?
The Rachel.
The Rachel from Friends. Yep.
Yes, I love Friends.
What was the first animated feature film to be nominated for Best Picture Oscar? It's a Disney movie.
And
First
then
Disney movies from the
animated.
90s.
Lion King.
Mm-mm. I think this one came out before The Lion King. Jane, give it a guess.
It was a Disney.
Disney movie in the 90s.
You would think I would know this, but I have two young kids.
Before the Lion King was
I think Lion King was 94, between 94 and 96, I think. So it was before the Lion King.
Was it the one with the genie?
No, it was not Aladdin.
It wasn't the Nightmare before. That's not.
Nah.
Mm,
It's a princess movie. Jay's cheating. Look, I can see him.
Oh no,
typing
no,
on the
I'm not.
keyboard.
I'm not. Was it the Frog Prince?
No, that's
Frog.
wait.
that's newer.
In the Beast.
Okay.
Beauty and the Beast.
That's my favorite one.
Wait,
Beauty and
that.
the Beast.
But I thought that came out like in the 60s or something. 70s.
What are you talking about, Jay?
Beauty and the Beast only came out in the 90s.
Beauty and the Beast was in the 90s. Yeah.
And I have a very unique skill set. Like I know every word to every song of Beauty and the Beast.
Why am I thinking that's so much older?
Like the first one they did was Snow White. That's the oldest one.
I thought Beauty and the Beast came out around the same time Snow White and Cinderella
Yeah.
and all those.
It was like Snow White, Bambi.
Mm-hmm.
Those were like the first couple.
Sleeping
Yeah.
Beauty.
Beauty and the Beast was not one of those originals.
No.
God, I've lost all touch of reality.
All right, for this one, you don't have to give me the exact number, but ballpark it.
Okay.
How many Americans tuned in to watch the O.J. Simpson trial verdict?
All of them.
Yeah,
All of them.
everyone.
In the millions, how many millions do you think it was?
It was
No, I don't know.
it was well over 100 million because there was more than Super Bowls, I think, right?
You're
Really?
close. It was a little less than that's what it says.
In the
But-
90s. So
95 million people.
Not going over. Is that what you're saying?
It says
What
95 million people. I remember, I don't know how old it was, but I remember just him on the interstate in the Ford Bronco. Just
yeah,
everyone. It was like every channel.
And
I was in a high school and they didn't want us to like know about it or anything, but I was in one of a weird class. I was a blow off class, and the teacher brought in the TV, say, "Hey, we're going to watch it."
That's so weird that they didn't want you to know about that. But I remember when 9/11 happened, they played that on the TVs during school. That's just
Oh,
weird.
played the OJ thing. Our social studies like did a whole feature on it.
On the OJ thing,
Yeah.
the slowest police chase of all time.
Right.
Yeah. Where were that's here's a Gen X thing. Where were you for the Challenger explosion?
Was that 86? When was that?
I want to say 87. I think I was in second grade.
It's 86. It's the year I was
86.
born.
Okay.
Mhm.
7 years old, so I don't remember. I don't remember where I was yesterday.
For some reason, I remember it because we were going to get a lesson from, I think every student in the country was going to get a lesson because there's a teacher on board.
Yeah.
And we tuned in and saw it. It was, so I guess that's why it
Do you remember
stayed
what?
with me.
Do you
since the
remember what
second
month
grade.
it was? What month was it? Do you remember?
No, I'd have to look it up. But
Depending on what month, I might not have been born yet. If it was before July, I wasn't born.
yeah.
Way to make us feel old, Brad.
Okay, back to the game. I
All right.
went on a little sidetrack there.
The Dream Team won Olympic gold in what year's games?
You want all of them or the first
Just
one?
Just the 90s.
Okay.
You can only do so many Olympics in a decade.
Well, it was every 4 years.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know which block of 4 years was even a.
The first Dream Team.
Summer
92.
Olympics are even numbers. Yep, 92.
92.
I just know because I was working at McDonald's and we had the specialty cups.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I worked at a VHS store about that time, I think.
We had those special cups. Hey, you have the Michael Jordan cup, the Karl Malone cup.
Well, Justin says Challenger was in January, so I wasn't born
There
yet.
you go.
Wow.
Next up, who was named the first female Secretary of State in 1997?
Madeleine Albright?
Madeleine Albright. Yep.
Hey, I got one.
I'm glad you answered. I didn't know we were going to do politics here.
It's on the list. Whitney Houston had a massive hit in 1992, which was a cover of whose hit?
Dolly Parton.
Yep. What was the song?
I Will Always Love You.
Nice bonus point.
Bonus. Oh, I
What?
can't.
What is it?
Oh, what?
I thought you said something.
Oh, it like cut out weird.
Oh,
okay. What fashion accessory was invented by a high school shop teacher? I think they actually got banned because they said they were dangerous. What fashion accessory was invented by a high school shop teacher?
Slap band, slap bracelet.
Slap bracelets. Yep.
Yeah.
A slap bracelet.
They still make those though now because my kids get them all the time in like little birthday gift bags and stuff.
I had a Bart Simpson one and it said "Eat my shorts" on it. Slapped it.
I think now they're plastic. I think back then they were metal inside of it, wasn't it? Like a little metal piece.
Everything's plastic now. Do you remember the metal slinkies?
Yeah.
Yes.
I could never get a slinky.
We're just reminiscing now. Do you remember the hey kids, remember this?
My dog is here.
That's cool. She's like, hey, let me play the game.
Yeah.
What was the first rap song to hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100? You could say this rapper was a one-hit wonder.
MC Hammer? No, that wasn't a rap.
Mm-mm.
Sorry. I think one-hit wonder. I don't know.
Stop, collaborate, and listen.
Yep.
Ice
Baby.
Yep. You know, he's like a realtor or something. No, he
flips houses.
Flips houses.
Yeah.
I saw one video where someone said that he has a lisp, and they play the song, and it sounds like he's lisping now. Now I can't unhear the lisp every time he says like ice and stuff.
Never noticed.
It's like ice, baby. I don't know if that's true. If that was like dubbed in for the video.
I think didn't he like try to turn metal at one point?
Yeah, I think he did something weird.
Yeah.
Like Garth Brooks kind of did something metal at one point too, didn't he? Or like heavy metal or rock and roll or something for a while. I know he did something other than country for a while. Jay doesn't know. I got 2 more questions.
Okay.
What actor starred in 2 of the top 10 highest grossing films of the 90s?
Yeah, give us a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Right now. Like, are these comedies, actions?
They're summer blockbusters. He's been in the news recently.
I know who it is. Go ahead.
It's a guy? I thought you said actress.
It's a guy. What actor starred in 2 of the top 10 highest grossing films of the 90s?
Tom Cruise.
Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Men in Black.
Independence Day and Men in Black.
Once you said Blockbuster, I knew it was Independence Day because I don't know why.
Yeah.
I forget that Independence Day was in the 90s.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much. It's probably awful now. Probably doesn't hold up at all. I haven't seen it forever.
That one and the one that came out like alongside it, Deep Impact.
The 90s had a lot of those like Armageddon and like there was another one they went to go blow up the asteroid in space. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah. I mean, if you go watch 1, you've watched 7. So
yeah.
So I love like disaster movies. They're one of my favorites.
All right, we'll do the last one.
I think we're tied now. Or I've come
Are you
back.
tied?
I don't know. I haven't been keeping track, but I'm just go ahead and say that I've made a comeback.
All right. Let's see. There's 2 good questions. Let's see. We'll pick this one. What was the most watched TV episode of the 90s?
Episode?
Yeah, 1 episode. What was the most watched TV episode during the 90s?
I think it was something to do with Friends, maybe. Can you tell us what?
It was a finale to a show, and it happened in the early 90s.
Was it a sitcom?
Yes, it's a sitcom. That's like all there was in the 90s.
Was it? Did it take place in a bar?
It did.
Okay.
Like the basement area, you went down the stairs.
That 70s show?
Uh-uh.
No, that was late.
Cheers.
Cheers. You're right. That was such a good show.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Cheers was good.
Mhm.
My wife was recently rewatching that on Hulu or Netflix.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
It still holds up, I think.
Well, what was
It
that
does.
last question you had there, buddy?
This one is, which actor was one of the first approached to play Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story?
I know this. I totally forgot. So
I think he's voiced other Disney movies, but I might be mistaken on that.
I don't know.
It's another comedian.
Jerry Seinfeld? Like, I don't know.
That would be so weird as Buzz Lightyear. Do you have a guess, Jay?
I mean, what's the deal with me flying around?
Yeah. God,
I know it.
That's
I
my
know it. I
favorite
forgot.
sitcom.
Who is it?
Billy Crystal.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Like
That
stuff like that. Always is so
I
weird.
didn't
Like
pick that
who,
one because that was just a letdown.
that was a letdown. It's always weird the actors that could have been like Tom Selleck. We were talking about something for the other day that Tom Selleck was in the lead and it was ended up being somebody else, and it was just so weird to picture Tom Selleck in that role. I can't remember who we were talking to. It was maybe Max or Joe or something.
What were you talking about?
I don't
Magnum
remember what
PI?
it was. No, it was it was something where Tom Selleck, he was like the first to be cast for it, but it ended up going with somebody else.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that was it. Indiana Jones.
Ew.
I didn't look
Yeah.
at Justin's answer down there.
It was.
I
That was when
said it
LJ was
before I shut
on.
up.
Can
Yeah.
you imagine Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones?
No.
with that stash?
The stat.
Speaking of Indiana Jones, so we were at Texas Frightmare, right, in Dallas, and there were several people, maybe like 3, dressed up as Indiana Jones at a horror convention. And I don't get it.
I would say that Raiders could be considered a horror movie because it's
You think so?
PG for one thing. Yeah, the dude's face like melts off his body and
Well, I mean, that doesn't make it.
You know, yeah.
it has
what's
horror elements in it.
rap
Yeah.
song pumping?
That's Temple of Doom. I remember watching that on like just normal
Horror.
TV when I was like 3 or 4. It scared the daylights out of me. Pull that guy's heart out.
So we in high school I was part of the veterinary club. I was like vice president, and we met after hours and we would do necropsies like on cats and dogs to see why they died. And I did that one time. I did that scene and I held the heart up and I got kicked out.
You said you're in school?
Yeah. Well, it was after hours. We were at the vet clinic.
Okay.
This was when they were hanging out at school after
They
hours.
hang out at school
much
after
like
hours, yeah.
Parachute.
Full day. We were at the vet clinic, which is way cooler. Way cooler.
Everything's coming full circle now. Yeah. So.
Well, your friend said on here you're going to rewatch this and make sure that you won.
I will. Mary knows me.
What I'll do is just edit it differently when I put it up on my channel, and not tell anybody. So I'll
Just
put it on my
dub it
channel
over.
tomorrow. Yeah, I'm
Dub
gonna
it over. You got all the answers.
like a bad Godzilla movie. Let's see here.
Lewis, that
So,
I don't know that, and I remember watching. I think it's Critters on TV. It's like the
mini
second
beard.
one. Mini beard. Let me tell you, I've had a mustache since I was like in 8th grade or 6th grade, and I have not shaved since I started growing facial hair.
Wow.
So
What
I've never been like 6th grade. I think I started growing a mustache, and
Wow.
I've never clean shaven since I started. So I don't know what I would look like. My wife wants me to. I'm just like, it can't happen. Can't do it. Maybe one day when I'm dead, you can shave it off.
That's funny. The dog.
So you mentioned that you do go to conventions every now and then, right?
Well, so I went to AuthorCon in Virginia, and that was my first, and then we went to
Okay.
Frightmare, so it was my second ever. But it was fun.
So I was
Did you
gonna
sell
ask, like,
books? Did you sell books
what
at
do you-
Frightmare, or is it just?
No, you have to kill someone, and I'm willing to do that
Yeah.
to get a table at Frightmare.
Well, because I was always curious, like what people get out of those conventions. I know obviously you're going, you're trying to get exposure and all that stuff, but I already see picture and hopefully that doesn't come out wrong.
No.
But I already see pictures of the writers hanging together, but I don't see a lot of the people coming to meet you and get the books and all. So I've always wondered like what actually happens at these conventions, what you get out of it. Are there actual fans showing up or new people?
AuthorCon in Virginia was that, like, it was mostly authors, but surprisingly a good amount of people, and some authors were selling out. I didn't, so I'm not that well known. I guess you got to be a bigger like name to sell out, but I sold more than I thought I would, but I was more there to like meet friends I'd only known online, and the networking, and then just feeling like you're part of the author community, because sometimes it's hard to, through the computers.
Right.
It was invaluable. I'm doing it again next year. I already got my table. So even if I break even or not even that, it's still worth it to me. It was a lot of fun. Rebecca Rowland and Doug Ford and I ended up hanging out a lot. So it was nice to finally meet them in person. So
I'd say the networking part of it's probably the best part for you all.
Yeah.
Other than
it seems
selling the
like
books.
every week there's mentions of a new one on Twitter, and I lose track of where they are and what's going on with them. But there was just Max Booth just did one in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Ghoulish Book Festival. Yeah.
To that, we had tickets to Ghoulish in San Antonio, and we had already gotten these other tickets too to the Texas Frightmare, so we ended up going there.
Okay.
Which was a little bit more of a drive because we're right on the coast. We're south of Houston, so it's like an hour and a half further to go to Dallas than San Antonio, drive wise, but it still wasn't bad.
And Frightmare's more like movie actors and stuff, right?
Yeah, and Ghoulish was more writing. And since we were going together, we both appreciate more the movie side of things. Had a blast. Really did.
Was there any book stuff there at all?
Yeah, there were some publishers there, and there were some authors that I stopped and chatted with. There's a publisher that's local that I finally, I was like, oh, I get to finally put a face with the name. We've been chatting on social media a little bit, but he wasn't there. Someone else was working his booth. But they were doing pretty well, it looked like. So, but I think the big draw on those are the movies, and so your movie memorabilia and your actors are the bigger things. I don't think it would be worth it to get a table, honestly, because you're not getting that personal interaction like with other authors, and you're not selling that much. So
we have one here in Kentucky called Scarefest, and it's mainly for actors and stuff. But I know before the pandemic, Death's Head Press had a table there one year, and I'm gonna forget his name.
Jared.
He wrote Jared them, and then the author. He wrote Cruel Summers. I can't think of his name right now. Jay, you read that book.
I did.
Cool.
Well, he was there. He had a table there too. But yeah, the Death's Head team was there. I think they were supposed to. Whoever the author, I can't think of. He was going to go last year, but his plane got delayed, so he couldn't make it.
Yeah,
it's gonna bother me. I can't think of his name now. But I'm going to try to go this year, and hopefully some authors show. I want Laurel to get a table there. But it's usually in September, October. I think she's going to the Mothman thing out in West Virginia that month.
Because where are you, Brad?
I'm in Kentucky.
Kentucky, okay.
Wesley Southard.
Yeah, Wesley Southard. That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen book people selling stuff at the movie cons before. They seem to do pretty decently at it. Yeah, Justin knows. Justin knows everything tonight.
I know. I looked it up on Amazon. So I reviewed it like 2 years ago.
I'm so bad with names. I can remember someone's face forever, but I cannot remember names at all.
So now my sister's in the chat, the Marisa Dudley.
Midget Killer.
It's funny because I'm 5'7" and she's not even 5 foot. Don't let her lie to you. And so she gets the midget jokes all the time. So
do you have a lot of family members wanting you to put them in their book in your books?
Not really. Well, yeah, my stepdad. And
your stepdad.
I'm the youngest of 5 siblings. And I don't even know, my sister's not a big reader. Claims, and this is not the same as reading, Marisa. She claims that she heard a friend of hers read Come Join the Murder and told her all about it. So she feels like that's good enough because she's not really a reader.
Wow.
You got the Cliff Notes.
Ryan said she's 4'9". I think she might be 4'10". I don't know.
Yeah, that's what your husband said. She's 4'9".
Or not, so she had to use like a child booster seat in the car.
Probably. No, she doesn't.
I don't even know her. I'm throwing shade. I'm sorry. I got it.
See, now you should put her in a book, and in the book have her character reading "Come Join the Murder."
Yes. That's my mom is a huge reader. She's who got me into reading at a young age, but like she reads everything of mine, but I don't think
4'10".
my other brothers did. They haven't
New
told.
shoes.
She says 4'10". Mary doesn't really read either. She comes to the book clubs to drink because we meet at the bar.
So your mom read when you were little. She the one that got you into reading then?
Yeah, she her piles of Stephen King were some of the first things, like everybody in my generation.
Yeah.
Some of the first books I read that I felt like I was sneaking, like being an adult, were like Tommy Knockers and like the big ones, you know. And she gave me her Stephen King collection, so I've got quite a good. And I haven't read not even a fourth of them, but I'm trying to make my way through them all.
Oh, I have the whole collection. I haven't read a tenth of them.
Like I feel like I've read a lot. I've read like 20 something, but then you look at how many he's written, it's like that's a quarter of them all.
And it's an investment. I mean,
yeah. Like this whole bookshelf back here, it's all Stephen King all the way down to the bottom.
Definitely.
So did you have any writer influences? Like was Stephen King a writer influence for you, or is it more so other authors you've read?
Yeah, I would say Stephen King. Always liked Edgar Allan Poe. And then when I started writing, I started really delving into like the indie horror community more. And Chad Lutzke was one of the first that I read. Right. And I was just in awe of that, like the talent. I'm still a big fan of his.
It's like he's the foundation of indie horror. You have to go through his stuff first.
Great intro to the genre.
Right.
How did you find indie horror? Because I remember for the longest time, like I didn't know it existed. Like all these authors I read now, never heard of any of them before.
Yeah.
And just one day I just like fell to a black hole. It was like all this new stuff.
I was listening to a podcast on writing, and then I came across the This Is Horror podcast with Bob Pastorella and Michael something.
Yeah.
Wilson. Michael David Wilson. And they mentioned Chad Lutzke, and I'm writing down names like of who the books they're mentioning, and I'm looking them up, and that's how I heard about them.
I kind of did the same thing with BookTube. I would watch videos, and like they would mention some horror, like, and I found like Edward Orange channel, and he would mention like Chad Lutzke a lot, and then started falling down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I never really set out to be indie horror reviewing person with my channel. It was, I don't know what I was going to do, but you take one step and it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. I don't know how.
Yeah,
it spirals out of control quick.
Yeah, my most of my TBR is now the smaller press horror, just where the like exciting stuff is. Boundary pushing, and not that the bigger ones aren't either, but I feel like indie can take a little more risks.
Right, there aren't as many hands in it.
Yeah.
You know? So if you want to write something a particular way yourself, you are the last person who's going to make any changes to it. You know, not some big huge editor that's going to like we need to sell it to this demo. So you do what you got to do. What is it about the horror genre though that attracts you to do the horror? Are we ever going to see any kind of like other genre from you?
So a lot of the short stories I wrote early on, like for the couple of things I mentioned earlier, like the 500 word stories, and they're on the website under short fiction. They're more literary, more like emotional. And I really enjoy doing that. And I felt like it was more of a strong suit. But when I started writing horror, I discovered the horror community as a whole, and they are so passionate. And the horror reader, passionate, like Bigfoot, like Come Join the Murder is considered a psychological thriller, and it's hard to stand out. There's so many, but like Bigfoot, if you like Bigfoot, you love Bigfoot.
Yeah.
They're so much more passionate, and that's exciting. And that's, I don't know. I like that about the horror community. They just
somebody,
it's like Hunter Shea. Hunter Shea loves Bigfoot. He's all about it.
Oh my God. He reviewed it recently, and I think I put on Twitter like, oh my God, like Hunter Shea liked my Bigfoot book. Like I can die now. Yeah.
There's just so many groups under the umbrella of horror. You know,
Mhm.
you'll have your groups who love Bigfoot and other like creatures like that, and then you have your groups who hates Bigfoot and werewolves and all that stuff. So it's just like,
Yeah, you're always
but everyone gets along though. They're like, they're not. We're like, you like that, you know? That's nothing. So
the like literary versus genre, right? That
yeah,
people don't take it as seriously and like, but I think there can be depth and gore in the splatter stuff. And it's just what you're in the mood for at the time, and there's a place for all of it. It's fun. To me, it's a lot of like I love if you don't stop my dog, I love like I love Piranha, the original, and I love Jaws and like Zombeaver and like the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Like
Zombeaver's great.
it's so good. I love it.
I mean, it's so bad, it's great.
Yeah. And like Killer Clowns, same.
Yeah.
And someone was dressed up as the Killer Clowns, and they looked straight from the movie. And I took a picture with them, and I was wearing the shirt.
Oh yeah.
At Frightmare, but I don't know, like there's just something like comforting kind of about the cheesy stuff. It's not you're not in any danger of like it's just fun.
Do you ever draw inspiration from some of the cheesy bad movies like that for stories that might work better in the written format?
So I have a short story I've been having a hard time finding a home for it, and I don't know what to do with it, but it's called Octa Squatch. That
wow.
Send it to Hunter Shea. We'll find a place for it because it's got Squatch in the end of it.
I had the best time writing that.
So do you like the creature feature stuff more, you think, for yourself?
I do. Lake Placid's one of my favorites. Like I said, Jaws, Piranha. The water ones are just, I don't know. To me, like the biological sci-fi horror stuff, like the mutant stuff that could happen, you know. I don't know. It's just fun.
You ever consider maybe writing a script?
Briefly, some friends in my writer group were starting to get into it. I think it'd be fun, but one thing at a time. There's still so much to learn in this other.
Yeah.
You thought about diving into any other genres like crime or anything like that, noir or anything?
Space erotica.
Space erotica is Jay's favorite.
So I wrote like a noir thing for an anthology. What was it called? I don't even remember. It's out of print now. It's on a shelf somewhere. And it was fun, but it's not really, I'm not as passionate about it. And when you're not as passionate, like I think it shows.
Yeah.
So horror's your bread and butter then, you think?
It's fun. To me, it's fun, and that's what this should be, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I think the horror genre, it could be so fun because it's so loose, and you could head down so many different roads and be accepted with it still. You could get a little bit bizarre and not cross over to Bizarro world and still, you know, hammer home, you know, if you want to be graphic over the top, fine, it still works. So
I feel like it's the most versatile genre out of all of them, I think.
And it's weird because I'm not a big fan of ghost stories or haunted houses, which seem to be like 90% of horror. So it's fun, like finding the other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because horror can be horror, sci-fi, horror, fantasy, horror, space erotica. You know, it can be whatever.
It's everywhere. Like My Bloody Valentine. I freaking love that movie. It's so weird, and
Did you see that one in 3D when it came out?
No, I didn't.
They did make it 3D, didn't they?
They did. I remember that's like one of the first 3D movies I saw, and it was like one of the best like 3D moments in it, if that makes sense.
I didn't watch it in 3D.
There's the one scene where he throws the pickaxe and I actually ducked.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was like, oh gosh.
Wasn't the last well, not the most recent Saw movie, but when everyone thought it was going to end, I think it was in 3D
The
also.
one with Chris Rock, that one?
No, not that one, not the most recent one, but when they thought the series was actually ending several years ago.
Yeah, I think it was 3D.
I think it made it 3D, and there was a one, I forget what scene it was, but it's a box or something. But I jumped. And it was just really weird.
And to go back to Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th Part 3 was in 3D. Because you can just watch it on normal TV, and they're like sticking the pull cue like up at the camera. You can tell it's like trying to be 3D. And there's one scene the guy's holding the eyeball up at the camera, like doing this. You can tell those are the 3D moments, but there's no 3D because it's just on normal TV. It's so bad.
But yeah, but that 3D,
you had like the red and the blue,
the blue, glasses for those. Yeah.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D was one of my favorites, and everyone hates it.
Is it the one with McConaughey?
The cousin. It's the one with the cousin. And there's a cheesy line at the end, and she's like, "Go get them, cuz," or "Do your thing, cuz," or something.
Yes, that was fairly recent, right? Within the last like decade or so. Right?
Yeah, it's Daddario. What's her name?
Yeah.
Something.
That one was so bad.
I loved it.
Oh man, I didn't like the newer one either. It was bad too.
The Netflix one.
Yeah, like it had cool kill scenes, but like the logic to it was just so stupid.
Oh, we did see that, but there was a bus scene, right?
The bus scene was great.
Yeah.
Everybody took out their phone, and then he just got slaughtered. Well, that would so happen today. Like some serial killer comes up, and everybody's trying to film it on their phone.
We met the guy at Frightmare and took a picture with him and the original, or like what he used in the chainsaw he used in the new movie. I can't remember the guy's name. But super nice guy, and it's not my favorite, but it still has some cool like kills, and it's part of the franchise, and I like that franchise. So
I had COVID when I watched it, so I don't have a clue if I liked it or not. Or
you were trashing it and on Instagram, just messaging me like, "This movie's dumb."
The story itself was horrible.
Like
I'm not ready to. Who knows?
Yeah, the logic to it was not very good.
No, like it didn't. But the kill.
Like the rich banker woman, she like sees the guy over there dead, and she didn't tell anybody that she sits on the bus. Like, why? Why don't you tell anybody? And then they just all sit there.
I gotta say, the original. I don't think the original.
I don't like the original one.
I think the original is overrated.
I like the original.
I think the best one I've seen. I want to say 2003.
I think that's my favorite. With the sheriff guy that's real angry all the time.
With Jessica Biel.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite one.
Good too, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite. Yeah.
That one is good.
Yeah. What's that guy's name that was always angry all the time? He passed away recently.
He was almost like a sergeant.
Arlie Emery.
Yeah.
He was like a real life drill sergeant, and he'd start doing stuff in the movies.
Well, no, like so with the new Texas Chainsaw, I didn't understand. So they had the original. I forgot her name.
Yeah, the original girl that survived.
She was now like I don't know, like some kind of detective or cop or something. She'd been looking.
Was she anything? I thought she was just like.
She was the sheriff, wasn't she?
Yeah, well, I think she was like what our equivalent of like a Texas Ranger kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like she had spent decades looking for this person who was in the same. This weird person lived there. Like, how did you not connect that?
And his picture was on the wall with like all the other students and stuff.
Yeah, and the cops knew, like when they showed up, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's the weird guy." Like,
I mean, the house is right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you miss that?
How do you miss it? And then sucked, but it's okay.
I feel like they're making a sequel because what he does at the end.
Yeah.
He was walking to the original house at the end.
Oh god, my mom. She just today. There's a place about 3 hours away where they filmed the Texas Chain. Was it the first one? I don't.
I think it's the first one. Yeah.
They call it the gas station now, and they're having like a signing of someone next week. I think. That's funny. She just went today. She likes horror.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So we don't have any like places like that in Kentucky because nothing ever happens here.
Oh.
So there's no cool places to go visit like where the movie was filmed or anything.
Yeah.
We have the prison where Shawshank Redemption was filmed.
The penitentiary.
Yeah, the Ohio State Penitentiary.
That's
up in Mansfield. Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Like the coolest place we have is Waverly Hills Sanatorium, but I don't think anything's ever been filmed there. They do like a bunch of ghost shows there all the time.
Mm.
Well, this
With,
episode of Movie Talk's been great, everyone.
So with you were talking about earlier that EASTON Falls Massacre, you're writing book 2. When you originally wrote it, was it set to be an ongoing thing, or just something
No,
that came up afterwards after it was over?
not at all. And I'm a fan of open endings in general. So I had several people like, okay, well, when's the next book? And I'm like, what? There's not one.
But on Amazon it says book 1. That's why I said it confuses me.
The first the publisher that did the first one,
This one doesn't say book 1 on
not
it.
one. They went back and added that later.
Oh, okay.
So if you have one of the first printings, it did not say book 1 on it because we weren't planning on expanding it. But we had so much fun with the Bigfoot clan, and I kind of wanted to tell more from like their perspective, and more of that the culture and stuff. So that's what part 2 is going to be about. Is
it also going to be like novella length, or is it going to be a bit longer? Or
we're
not sure yet.
Don't know yet. If it's really long, we'll break it into 2 more novellas. If it's
there you go.
Yeah,
this is going to be the big 1,000-page brick.
The Bigfoot book's 1,000 pages. Let's get into the family history and the family tree and the lineage going back decades and decades, and
family trees in the back. No, I don't know. Until we finish it, we don't really know.
It's going to be BigfootAncestry.com.
It's their version of Game of Thrones. You got to flip the appendix at the back and find out who's related to who and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So with you starting writing 4 or 5 years ago, did anyone give you like awesome piece of advice? Did anyone give you some really bad advice that still you laugh at today?
Tons on both sides. Yeah. I think like the best advice was like your first draft is going to be a pile of shit. Like it's going to be. And so don't compare your first draft to what's on your shelf. And so that's like, that helps out a lot when you're writing it.
Yeah.
Because I could see that being very discouraging. Like, oh, this sucks.
Because it does. I mean, yeah, it's just train of thought stuff. And nothing all makes sense. You don't tie everything in to the editing phase. And yeah, the first draft is always shit. What else was some good advice?
That needs to be on a shirt. The first draft is always shit.
Big ball of shit. And there's definitely the like write what you know thing isn't really good because it's not interpreted as like people think, oh, write what you know, like I'm a photographer, so let's like have photography horror. I think it's write what you know as in, have you ever had your heart broken? Have you ever lost someone? Have you ever been afraid for your life? Like those kind of like emotional things that you can tie into stuff. I think that's more of like what it means, but because I don't want to be tied down to just what I know, because then I would be very limited. I don't know that much.
Yeah. That'd be very boring for you because after a while you'd run out of stuff to write about.
Yeah. Well, I was telling somebody like I've put little bits of myself in everything I've written, whether it's like a location that was important to me or like a car I had or a job I had or friends or what we did. It's like eventually am I going to just run out of stuff? Like,
yeah.
To get from.
It's like Stephen King, every character is an author.
Right. But that whole so that would mean I would just write like sports horror, music horror,
rock and roll horror.
Yeah, that's all I could do. So yeah, step outside that.
He's talking about you demolished his draft.
Oh my god. Okay, here's your drama, Jay. No.
Finally, hour and a half into it. Let's do this.
He was writing still is Ryan, wherever he's not in the house. I don't know where he's watching.
He's outside the window.
That was him honking the horn earlier.
I know. Like, hurry up, we gotta go someplace.
He was several chapters into like a horror around a poker game and like the devil, and it was really cool. But I was early on. I didn't know to be more supportive in the beginning than red pen stuff. I was excited that I knew a few more things than I did. So I was like, let me just do all the things like X's and lines. And And that was the wrong thing to do on someone's first book. Like, I wasn't. And then he
You made him
stopped.
cry.
I feel like a piece of shit. Stopped writing it. But he did say, like, the story was going somewhere he didn't really want it to go. It sort of took on a different direction. And so he's got to, like, realign. But apparently he's still holding on to a little feelings about the first draft.
You know, I hear about that every now and then, where it kind of just takes on its own world, and then you kind of either something sometimes good, sometimes bad. So
the entire thing was not read, Ryan. God.
Just hand him like back a piece of red construction paper.
Several X's, red X's.
You know what? I don't even think he still has it. There's no proof.
He just threw it away. It was so you couldn't even read anymore. It was too.
He still has the file. It's hidden on that computer that you used that makes the noise when you start it up. Yeah.
I'll never be forgiven for that.
Yeah.
But in my defense, he hated the idea of parachute before I wrote it.
Really?
Yeah. When he bounced ideas about what should I write next? Blah blah.
There goes all credibility he might have had.
He was like, that doesn't sound interesting to me.
Was it the idea of it just being the parachute, or the idea of going to different worlds?
I think all of it. It wasn't like
he just hated all of it.
I don't think he could see where it was going to go, but then when he read it, he's like he liked it. So, or he said he did. So
it was just payback.
Oh, so a friend of ours owns a bar about 10 minutes away, and so. Who's all watching it? I don't know.
It's just playing live to the bar.
I know. It's on all the TVs and everything.
Yeah, it's on the big TVs. He's got the volume cranked to the max.
Oh my God. Probably.
But see, it only shows up as one viewer for us, though.
Yeah, there'll be one viewer and the whole bar's watching.
I know.
Great. Well, my brother owns a bar about 20 minutes in a different direction, and we play poker there every Thursday nights. So I know he's not watching it there. He's at the other one.
Yeah. So you said you described it more as being sci-fi. Well, I can see some sci-fi elements in it a little bit. I mean, it's not like techie sci-fi or anything like that. But sort of the world hopping is sci-fi fantasy-ish.
Yeah. Is that where the books? So Ryan did write. He did write like a satirical children's book, and he did a book signing at our friend's bar. So. Nice.
So with Parachute, are you going to do like a book release launch party or book signing or anything for it?
I don't know. So when Come Join the Murder came out, I had these big plans. We were going to do a big signing at our local library, and we were going to go to a restaurant, and we rented the back room. We were going to have a big party. We're going to get drunk. And then it released in March of 2020. So if that tells you, right when COVID.
Oh, yeah. Great timing.
So this is the first time I've ever released anything when stuff was open, because Bigfoot was the same story. So I haven't been able to do anything. The thing in Virginia, the AuthorCon, was my first time to ever have a table anywhere. It was a lot of fun, but I don't know, can you do like a launch party if it's not like your first book? Does anyone? I don't.
Yeah, book, right? I mean,
yeah, like Ronald Kelly's doing a launch party for his memoir thing in September. It's coming out, and that's probably who knows how many books he's written.
Yeah, I don't know. I may.
You should do it, because technically this would be. It's not your first book, but technically it's your first chance to do a launch party since everything's been shut down before.
Do you ever get recognized? Do people know you out and about? Hey, you're the writer.
No.
At every book.
The first person that came up to me and said they were a big fan, they were excited to meet me, I almost died.
That's cool though.
Well, see, that's why you need to do a launch party so more people
can
come out. Hey,
it's not a wedding shower; it's a launch party.
I know.
But for real, you should. I would, if I was an author, I would do a party for every book, some sort, whether it was just celebrating with friends or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that social. It was a lot for me to go to AuthorCon and be around a bunch of strangers and talking and stuff. But I don't know. I think I'd have to drink.
Just get all the people at the bar or where your husband's at right now. Just do it there.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
So
If
go ahead, Brad.
I would say with only, your books came out, 2020 is your first book. How do you feel like your career has gone so far? Do you feel like it's gone pretty good so far as what maybe your expectations were going into it?
Yeah. I'll say going into it from more reading more traditionally published stuff than indie stuff, I had different expectations of I'm going to write a book. I'm going to get an agent. I'm going to land a big 5 deal, and I'm going to be the unicorn that they like push and top the dogs.
It's good. You're fine.
And when I started writing and learning more about the indie stuff and the smaller press stuff, I feel like it's more for me. Like I'll probably self-publish everything. I like the control. I like seeing the immediate results of any ads that I run. And I like getting my author copies for a really good price. I like all that. And I make a lot more on the self-published than I do on the first one that's traditional. Well, it's like a medium-sized publisher.
Yeah.
So there's still that, you see people, there's people in the author community that I'm like, oh, like they're indie authors, horror. They're proud of that. They love it. That's what they do. And then they're like, they get an agent and they're like, my dreams came true. And I'm like, well, it's weird. Like, is that everybody's dream? Like,
right.
That's not really the sign of success. Yeah, making like the New York Times bestseller list would be amazing. And is that easier to do with the big 5? Yes. Is it still rare? Yeah. Like it's hard to get that deal that gets pushed and that gets all that money and the marketing behind it. Because you could have a big 5 or big 3 now and be like on their mid list, right? And you're still doing a lot of your own marketing. You're still doing a lot, like pushing yourself. So you're only getting 10% of your book sales, which is what is a traditional amount, and you're having to do a lot of the work. And that's weird to me. Like you put so much into this and you're only getting 10%. That just baffles. I don't. So it's as far as like being happy with where I'm at and like the journey. Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really proud of what I've done. There's definite things I probably would have done differently here and there, but it's a learning process, and I'm just excited to keep going and seeing where it goes.
It has got to be so much harder these days to be part of those big 5 or big 3, whatever it is now, because it's an age of social media and everything's got to be video, and kids are like, books, what the hell's a book, and not, so it's just a whole different world than what it was years ago when people were hitting the New York Times bestsellers list and all that stuff. So it's just
and just because you're even on that list doesn't mean your book's good anyway,
right?
Like a lot of that stuff isn't good. I mean, not that it's like garbage, but it's not like I would rather read an indie book than I would this cookie cutter book that you're going to go find on all the bookshelves at Walmart and Barnes and Noble and stuff.
Boom, take that, big 5.
Yeah, right. Boom.
I like some of those books, like what you're going to get. You know what I mean? Like it's a safe reading experience. Like what you're going to get. There's a certain formula sometimes, and it's guaranteed, and that's nice too. So like, not one is better than the other. I just think this route is better for me.
Yeah, and it's not like they're all cookie cutter. Like I'm reading The Fervor right now by Amakatsu. It's really good. I read Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby recently. That was really good. But still, not that they're cookie cutter, but they still are. They're all around that 300-page mark. So you have to either squeeze your story or expand your story into sort of that same page range. It seems like a lot of the time too.
Yeah. I read Amakatsu's The Hunger. I really liked that one. But I talked book club into doing Razorblade Tears. So I think
it's really good.
Week or 2 we're meeting to discuss it.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't read fast, but I read that in just 2 or 3 days. I blew through it pretty quick. Yeah, it was good. It flows really well. Yeah.
Well, as we wind down here, so you can go fight with your dogs a little bit on this party. What's up aside from Parachute? Do you have other works in progress? Everything's getting ready to pop up.
Oh I want to plug. So there's a Rebecca Rowland is editing another anthology that I'm in. It's going to be really exciting. It's one of my favorite topics, and I can't say a lot about it, but like it's going to be great. So I have to get that out, that story finished, and then we're going to work on Bigfoot too. And that's really, as far as this year, that's all I've got planned.
Okay. Cool. And I always ask people, where can people find you? I know you're all over social media, all over. So
my website is hollyraygarcia.com.
Right.
Pretty easy. The Twitter's Holly Rae Garcia, Instagram's Holly Rae Garcia, Facebook is Holly Rae Garcia author.
so original.
I figured it's easy. It's an easy thing to.
And Brad will have those in the description for the video down below.
Thank you.
We'll put it up on the podcast too when I do that tomorrow at some point. So
I did want to ask you one last thing about
go ahead.
Parachute.
Okay.
How did you hook up with Wayne to do the cover? Wayne Finland to do the cover?
I love
He's a
Wayne's
cool guy.
Wayne is the nicest guy.
Yeah.
He's good people. That's what. I'm friends with him on social media. He was one of the beta readers for Parachute, and then I saw that he was doing these covers that were fantastic, and I was like, who? At the time, I was I had it out to 5 different mid-sized publishers. So I say, like, I'd rather self-publish. There's a very small amount of people I would give that up for, and they're all indie publishers at this point. But I had it with them for like 2 weeks, different people. And that process takes months. So it was still early. Yeah. And I shot Wayne a message. I was like, hey, you've read the book. Like you do covers just like for fun. What would you do? Like, I'll pay you for this, but like, I'm just curious what ideas you would have. And he came up with something like perfect that perfectly represented the story. And I said, I love it. And I pulled the submissions to the other places the same day, and like, okay, I'm self-publishing it because I have to use this cover.
Nice. So did he do everything? Because I know it said you did something on the cover. Did you do the font on there, or what'd you do on there?
He did the cover art, and we worked together on the layout and fonts.
Okay.
So I was doing it and sending him like pictures, like, do you think that? And so.
Because I like the scratchy font, because on like your banner, you've got like the girl with her eyes scratched out and stuff for the parachute. So I like the scratchy font that's going on there.
Thank you. I think it came out great.
Is EASTON Falls Publishing, is that your sort of your indie pub, your self-pub sort of brand?
We were uploading it and we're like, crap, let's like, I don't want to just have my name or his name as the publisher, both of us. So we're like, just EASTON Falls, it's fine. We're never going to need this or do it again. And now, like, we used it for parachutes.
Do you think ever in the future you might publish somebody else's stuff under EASTON Falls Publishing? Or is that just going to be for you and your husband?
Probably not. During the pandemic, I worked on a magazine that was not the best experience when you're working hard on someone else's dream. So probably not, no.
Just stick to the Bigfoot stuff and whatever you're writing.
Yeah, so where I can just work on my own stuff and not, it's just easier.
Nice. All right. Holly, we can't thank you enough for joining us this evening. Totally appreciate it. We're just two bums from microphones, but you'll get excited for some of the big names we get on the show here. So we totally appreciate it.
It's fun to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like listening to y'all thoughts. Lansdale has the best like one-liners.
Lansdale. Yeah. I was shocked that he actually came on. I was like, wow, that's a big name.
That is
awesome. He's probably not very far away from you either, is he?
He's more like East Texas. He's closer to the Louisiana border. I'm probably like 3 from the Louisiana border. So
like I said, we've done a lot of Texas guests this season.
Lansdale, Max, Holly. I'm sure there's I don't know if
Isn't he Texas too?
Who?
Gabino Iglesias.
He's in Texas. I think Jeremy Hepler might be in Texas. He's coming up soon.
Okay.
I might be wrong about Jeremy. I don't know, but I think he's in Texas too.
A lot of us.
We might as well just give our whole lineup. So
yeah, just everybody in Texas.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We totally appreciate it. Hopefully we didn't, waste your evening too much.
Guys, thank you.
It's still early. Well, you're an hour behind us, so it's still early there. You
Yeah.
can meet up at the bar and do what you got to do.
You can watch the replay on all the TVs at the bar.
Exactly. Yeah.
No.
That's going to do it for our guest this evening.
Pick up parachute.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Of course, pick up the other stuff too, because I'm working my way through them. But yeah, so much fun. Thank you so much. Holly Rae Garcia, everyone. Parachute May 20th.
A week from today.
Yes. So.
And she needs to do a launch party for it, whatever that is.
Yeah. I believe the launch party planning is taking
Mary
place in
is
the
already
chat right now.
We're having one.
So we're having it. We're having it. Maybe we'll get video from it and upload it. We'll go from there. Yeah. All right, let's go do it, guys. Totally appreciate everyone hanging out with us once again for this episode of Paper Cuts. Until we meet again, stay safe. See ya.
Love you, Jay.